Our mascot dog is crashed right out already. Does that mean we're at the end of the podcast episode? Or
nope, we're just at the beginning.
Only the
beginning. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Today's chat is going to be a whole bunch of random stuff because I've got a pile of questions and comments that we've taken from our podcast and our YouTube channel, and we're just going to talk about what people have asked.
Whatever comes up, a mishmash.
Yeah, we'll see what the people asked us today. So we have our McCann Dogs toolbox, which is containing...
filled to the brim.
a whole bunch of questions. All right, I'm going to start with the first one.
We should put snacks in there, actually. We should open it up and have Tootsie Rolls.
That would be a good surprise. Okay.
Yes.
Even though I probably could see this, I'm going to put my glasses on. I'd really appreciate some advice on house training a puppy in an apartment with a 3-minute walk to outside.
Oh,
so
yes.
You know, house training a puppy in an apartment comes with a few extra challenges because, of course, with our house training puppies in a house where we have a yard, we can easily run them outside and they get a pee.
Right. And it doesn't matter what you're wearing because you're in your yard.
This is a fact.
Right.
And having a young puppy at home right now, I will tell you, I've found myself out in the yard in less than what I probably should be at 4 in the morning a couple of times. But you know what?
Right.
I've got lots of trees surrounding my yard. There's no visual into my yard, luckily. But I'll tell you, sometimes
Google Satellite.
that is a consideration.
I'm sure Google Satellite has caught you, Shannon.
Imagine. Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah. There's pictures of all of us naked somewhere out there on the internet with all the AI capabilities.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So apartment house training with a puppy comes with some challenges. With a very young puppy, I would be doing a lot of carrying with that pup.
Yes.
Basically, our rules with house training are anytime they have just woken up from a nap, anytime they've had a big play, anytime they have eaten, they're probably going to need to go to the bathroom after those times. So you're going to have to time your strategies very well. Right. In order to get the puppy that 3 minutes to get outside before they stop to go to the bathroom. So a lot of the times that means carrying them for the first couple of weeks. You know, as long as you can physically carry them, those first couple of weeks is going to be very beneficial.
Right.
Because in all likelihood, they're going to hold it while they're up in arms.
Yes.
Although that is not entirely
right.
true. Sometimes you give them a little bit of a squeeze, and of course
it comes out. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I've had that happen a couple of times too when little Levon has really had to go.
Right.
And I scooped him up to bring him outside. Luckily now he's holding it well and he's walking all the way outside. But
you figure in the litter, puppies just stop and go whenever they please.
Yes.
So they feel the urge, they stop and go. So they haven't developed that holding of the bladder. They haven't exercised that bladder muscle.
Yeah.
So it's a when you first bring home a puppy, it's a brand new thing that they have to suddenly hold their bladder.
Yes.
Because they've spent 8 weeks just going when they choose.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is natural for them. House training is very unnatural for them. Teaching them to hold their bladder, incredibly unnatural for them. So this is something that's already a process of teaching for the pups. So really, really important that you come up with a plan.
Right.
So that you're not just winging it, because if it is one of those moments where the pup goes, oh, I have to have a pee, and they squat and you grab them to run them outside, now you have 3 minutes of getting to that spot to get there. So you really want to stay in front of things as much as possible. After those specific events, right? Sleeping, eating, playing, we want to take the pup outside, be proactive,
right?
Take the pup outside and give them that opportunity to go. Because of course, they're less likely to have an accident if they have an empty bladder or an empty bowel. If you know that need has been met, you're going to be much more likely to be able to bring them back inside and give them some freedom. So I like the idea of having a little bit of extra help when living in an apartment, because sometimes like 3 a.m., getting up with a puppy who's like, I really gotta go, and trying to make that 3-minute walk may or may not be successful. So I like to have a little bridge gap. And with our students, a lot of the times we will recommend like a little potty box or a potty patch for out on the balcony if possible, right?
If you have a balcony.
Yeah, if you have access to some sort of an outdoor space, that will help for sure, because you can bring the puppy there that's closer and have them go, and those sort of emergency needs are taken care of.
Right.
However, it becomes a situation where you do need to wean off of it. And I find that a lot of the times people think that the potty patch or the puppy pad or whatever the case may be is going to do the job for them. And what do you think about that?
It doesn't do the job for them. No, definitely not. But what if I didn't have a balcony, what I would do is I'd put my puppy pad or my puppy patch right at the exit door.
Yeah, perfect.
So already now the puppy's getting the idea of we go to the exit door, door. And then as your puppy gets a little bit older and starts to grasp the concept, the puppy already says, oh, the puppy patch might be at the door. Let's go look. And as you see the puppy moving, there's your cue. They need to get out.
Yeah.
And you can pick them up and get them outside.
Exactly. I would also really recommend taking an approach to the potty patch, puppy pad, whatever the case may be, whatever it is you're using, take an approach that is similar to taking an approach outside. So rather than just, hoping that the dog goes over to the potty patch and uses it, put them on leash, walk them over, and then do your same association work, right? We do a lot of work teaching the puppy to pee on command.
Right.
So as my puppy is going, for example, I'll be saying, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And this is already working like a charm with Levon. He actually just turned 20 weeks this week, I believe, 19 or 20 weeks. He's bordering on 5 months at any rate. And he is fabulous now. When I bring him outside, right away I tell him hurry up, and he immediately squats and starts to pee. He's got that association down, and it makes it easier to build that transition in, right? So if I'm in an apartment and my dog has now learned to walk on leash to a spot, my dog has now learned to associate a command, and they've learned how to be prompted to go, I can control that go a little bit more. It's been identified, right? The puppy understands that this thing is what I'm talking about. So now I can use that to my advantage. When I carry them outside, I put them down outside. As soon as I put them down, I can use that command. I can use that hurry up. I can get the behavior I'm looking for, and then, of course, I can praise the puppy for making that good choice. We avoid feeding puppies for peeing on command. Why do we do that?
Just because the puppy will always want to go out to get that treat.
Yeah, exactly. And it's already a rewarding behavior.
Right, it
too.
is.
So
yes,
it's
it
not
feels
necessary.
Good to pee.
Yeah, it's not necessary. Think about yourself. When you really need to go and you get to go, you feel relieved, right? It feels good. So it's already a rewarding behavior for us, for our puppies. There's no need to give them that cookie, and it often causes confusion and often causes puppies who go, if I pretend to pee, I get a cookie. Or they go outside, they rush through the pee, don't empty their bladder entirely because they're running back to get that cookie from you. So
yes,
we do recommend avoiding feeding for peeing.
And if you take your puppy to the pee pad and, have them on leash and you're waiting for them to go and they don't go, the best thing to do then is to put them in the crate. Even though you're still indoors, you don't want them, wandering around and now just going somewhere. It's like, well, back in the crate, you're going to have to hold yourself. Let's try again in 15 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. That's really, really good advice, because you don't want to just leave it to chance. You want to create a house training situation. Even though it's going to take you longer to get outside, that's going to complicate things even more. So it's so important that the puppy has a basic understanding of how to hold it until they get to that point, how to go on command, etc. And making sure that you're not just going, oh, crap, he didn't go. He didn't crap.
Right. Yes.
He didn't go. So now I guess we'll just wander around the house and hope for the best. No, especially in an apartment where you'll have that long duration where you have to move from inside to outside. I would definitely want to work on some sort of a program. So
right, yes. And knowing that in an apartment, you're going to have to go outside with your pup each and every time, no matter what the weather. Be prepared.
Yeah,
so when you get up in the morning, put on clothes that you don't mind going outside.
When you get up in the morning, get yourself dressed before going outside.
Have slip-on shoes at the door. You might even have a little knapsack, and in that knapsack you have paper towels, pickup bags, an umbrella, things that you can grab as you get the pup out. That way, if the puppy has an accident in the hallway or the elevator, you're prepared to clean it up. If you get downstairs and it's raining, you have an umbrella in your backpack. So have a little preparedness backpack that has everything in it that you might need right there at the door to take with you.
You want to know what the perfect name for this backpack is?
What?
A go bag.
A go bag. That's good. That's a good one, Shannon. Shannon, you are on a roll. On a roll today.
Oh, we'll see if I get any more. You need two at least for a roll, so we'll see. What does Marty McCann say? Even a blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. And Steve always says, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
good one too.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I have heard Steve say that.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Do you want to grab another question or statement?
Okay.
Interesting conversation piece. Oh, Honda's awake.
He's awake. Okay. Our 9-month-old puppy responds very well to treats and praise at home, but shows zero interest in treats when we go for a walk or to the dog park, as all the sights and sounds are far more interesting to him than those settings. Any suggestions for getting his focus when treats aren't working?
Aww.
Yes. Well, that's absolutely normal. It's, when I go somewhere exciting too, the normal things aren't going to interest me. Yes. So
I like to use food strategically in that way. Like I spend a lot of my kibble rations. I should say my dog's kibble rations because I don't usually eat kibble, but I spend a lot of their kibble rations working on those basic skills. And that's what I do in home. So that in home, they don't need exciting treats because there's not a lot of conflict. There's not a lot of distraction there to contend with. So I'm using my kibble as my reinforcement there. When I go out and about, I like to have the higher end stuff. That's where I use the cheese, the chicken, the, little pieces of chicken wiener, things like that. What do you do when you're out and about? What do you use?
Well, when I'm out and about, I'm going to pick something with a lot of high scent. So I'm going to look for a smelly treat.
Smelly treat?
Smelly treat.
So like a smelly cat?
Right. Smelly so like a fish-based treat that my dog maybe only gets when we're out, or meat-based treat. Something with a lot of smell that the dog goes, what is that? And they can't resist. I'm also going to stay far away from distractions too. So I'm not going to, take my dog and plunk them right in front of all the dogs, at another park.
You're not going to Disneyland on that first training session, right?
Exactly, yes. I'm going to stay a distance away, and I'm going to work my dog and get them used to seeing things from far away, but being able to turn back and focus on me, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I might also bring fun toys, too. So I'm going to, one of my corgis, Gavin, had this little tiny stuffed koala. For some reason, he went nuts over that. We called it Mr. Koala. And I always had that in my back.
Like a good name.
In my back pocket. And I knew that I could bring out Mr. Koala and I would have 100% focus back on me. So, and Mr. Koala never came out to play. Never came out to play under normal circumstances. He only came out under high distraction areas.
Yeah. Yes. I love that you said that. So a lot of the times people go from what we call the white room, right? The white room is basically your distraction-free environment.
Right.
And this is where you're starting your skills, right? So if I'm starting to teach my dog to heel at my left side, for example, I don't want to start that in the Disney World waiting lines where there's so much excitement and screaming kids and, all the things.
Right, yes.
I don't want to start that in the exciting place. I want to start that in a place where my dog can give me his entire focus. He can learn the lesson. The learning is so optimal. And from there, I can start to make the distractions tougher. So here's a perfect example with Levon. Obviously, I've been training Levon very hard since he came home. We work solidly every day. Most of our games are based around building obedience skills. Most of our time is spent making sure that we get in lots of repetition of things. When you have a puppy in training and you're a dog trainer, you don't just go for a walk with the puppy.
Right.
You go out to find scenarios to train, right? So even when I'm doing a wander on the property, I call it a wander on the property all the time. And now Ned is part of those wanders. So now I wander with Ned and the puppy together because now the puppy has enough obedience skills under his belt that I can call him off of Ned. I can get his attention when Ned is around. And a lot of the times, quite frankly, he chooses me over Ned because Ned really ignores him. And, the puppy's sort of growing to be a little bit older and he's not as enamored with Ned anymore, but he's also built so much value for other things now that he's looking for value in those other things. And one of those other things, of course, is me. And that value has come by doing lots of obedience skills and lots of work and making him understand that obedience is fun. It's worth his while to listen to me. He gets lots of reinforcement and lots of rewards for doing so. And of course, we're already at the point where we're starting to wean down the rewards quite a bit. So he's not getting as much as he was when he was a puppy. But I've been increasing the distractions at home as well as, getting out to new locations and whatnot. I'm very careful when I'm out and about to temper the distractions so that I'm not over facing him at all. But like last night, I was telling you when I came in, I was all excited when I came in today because I was working my puppy with Ned out as a distraction yesterday, and he was able to do a sit and a down stay while I heeled with Ned around him and threw a little toy a couple of times. Not super exciting, but just a little toss. So Ned moves quickly when there's a food toss or a toy toss. So he was moving quickly, and the pup was doing a great job holding the sit and down stays while that was happening, and I was getting him rewards for that. And then, of course, we switched roles, and I was heeling with the pup while Ned was doing a down or a sit. And I told you with some great excitement that at one point I rounded the corner and I was too close to Ned, and I continued forward, and the pup actually leapt over Ned to keep maintaining heel position.
Oh, that's so good. And so good of Ned, too, to hold position.
Oh, Ned's such a good egg. He is such, I cannot fault that dog for he's just wonderful, but I just love him. I mean, we all love our dogs, but now I get a moment to express how much.
Right.
Yeah, so I was thrilled with that. And that, he could not have done that a month ago. Right. He couldn't have done that, maybe a week ago. He started being able to focus that well with Ned around because we've been working hard up to that point. But we were doing work with Ned just laying off to the side. And even that was a challenge at some points because the pup really loves Ned and really wanted to be with Ned. So working those distractions in gradually and going from the point where Ned was at the other side of the room laying down and really not being exciting at all to being closer and, even touching in some cases. Like, that's been a gradual process. It's not something that I just sort of leapt into the Disney World line and said, okay, we're here, we're going to do it. Like, I worked into it slowly.
Yes. You put hard work into that. Yeah. Yes. You just didn't expect the dog to.
Exactly. Yeah.
To be able to do this.
Right. Gradual. So that it was, first it was the white room, and then there was a little splash of color, and then there was some, benign distractions first, and then maybe some more exciting distractions like throwing a toy on the floor or on the ground or going out where all the sniffs are. I've got tons of bunnies on my property and frogs, and like it's just a wealth of critters.
It is a Disney movie out there.
It is a Disney movie. And there's so many smells, and like going to some of those areas, where his little dog brain would say, oh, what's that smell in the grass? But I'm saying, no, I'd like you.
Smell. Ooh, can't you smell that smell?
I am a Skinnerd fan. I do like Skinnerd. Good little singing interlude.
Right, yes.
I like most music. I'm all over the place, but yeah. So getting his focus on me and teaching him that smell is less exciting than me. It's work, but it's something that is gradually setting us up to now being able to go to a park that's a new novel park, and expect the same behavior.
Keeping in mind too, dogs are situational. Yes. We've talked about that before. So the dog might be fabulous in your backyard, but you get them out to this new environment and the dog's like, I've never heard this word before. They need many, many practices and repetitions in different environments to be able to perform.
You know what popped in my head when you said they may be fabulous in your backyard? I wanted to say, but plain everywhere else. We're all fabulous. Already. Yes. Yeah, definitely. It's a process, and it's work, and it's putting in the time to help the dog adjust. Also, finding the rewards that work for your dog.
Right.
Because if they're not overly food motivated when the environment becomes more distracting, well, now this is a problem. We need to fix this problem. So what does the dog like? Is there a certain game? Is there a certain toy? Is there a treat that you can find that is going to work well? And if those things fail, what else have you got? Have you got a dog that likes butt scratches or, back rubs or belly rubs? Like, what is the thing that your dog will go, oh yeah, I love that as a reward? There's something,
Yes, definitely. And the person mentioned the dog park, like that extremely overwhelming to all the dog's senses. It's very hard to break through to a dog that is just completely overstimulated.
Yeah.
So it's you're moving too fast.
Absolutely.
Moving too fast to expect.
Yeah. Too much of a jump in the ladder. I always call it the distraction ladder. And if you think about ladders have rungs that we take one step after another, right? If we tried to jump from that bottom ladder, that bottom rung, which is the white room, all the way to Disney World, we're probably going to fall in the process, right?
Yes. So it's like we teach our children steps and how to swim.
You got it.
Right. We just don't take
progression. Yeah. Yeah, you need it. It's so important.
Yes.
All righty. Woo. What do we got? Oh, I got a big one.
Oh, no. It's a long one.
It is a long one. Oh, wait. Okay. Let's do
glasses.
This. Glasses time. My problem is my dog is a ball-obsessed border collie crossbreed who isn't pulling because he is distracted by something in sight, but by any place, anywhere where we ever played with the ball. Oh my gosh. This could be my life with every single toller I've owned. Also with Ned and any type of water, which is a good thing because we can help you because, of course, these problems did not continue to exist. They got worked through. He knows each place within about half an hour walk in whatever direction we walk. So let's say I start walking north. He knows a place he played in the north, and that is what he is pulling towards, even if it says a 20-minute walk away. I don't understand how to use leave it on that. Oh my goodness. So that is a dog that is smart and has a really good memory and is very singularly focused.
Right. And actually, the ball focus gives you something right off the bat to work with.
It does. It absolutely does. You know what I do anytime I have a dog that is singularly focused in anything, you know, whether it's coming out crashing out of the crate, because when the door opens, all you do is run out of the crate. If it's rushing out into the backyard, because when the door opens, that's what you do. Right. You know what I do when that's the case? What? I create other options. I create other options that bring value. So just like you're saying, you know, you have this ball that you can use to your advantage then. Why continue to the park and then reinforce that behavior? Right. Like that's the part of the pattern that you need to stop at that point, is stop the dog being able to predict what's actually going to happen. You know, if one day you're headed out to that park and as soon as the dog starts pulling and thinking about getting to that park for the tennis ball, you say, oh, we're going back in the other direction. And he goes, oh, well, that's confusing. And then he catches your side and then he thinks, oh, we're going to that other park. And he goes straight out to that, you know, end of the leash to try to pull. You turn and go a different direction again, right? Now, here's the thing I would also do in there. I would turn and go the different direction. And then when my dog said, okay, I'm here for a second and I'm not sure what's happening, where are we going? I would say, yes, pull out that ball and have a little play with them, right? So that dog saying, I'm going to make a different decision that's better than pulling towards the thing that I think is going to happen is going to get reinforced. Right. And if it's the ball that's the biggest reinforcement, hey, you know what? You can have it for walking nicely at my side then.
Right, yeah, paying attention to you gets the ball.
Yeah. What happens is he learns that he gets the ball by getting to the park. So he wants to get to the park as quickly as possible because that's the singular focus.
Right, yes, and that would make a good herding dog. The dog needs to focus on those sheep and how to move the sheep and predict the sheep. So you're
anybody who is interested in a border collie know that you need to have a lot of games and effort to keep them from creating their own and to keep them from filling in the gaps and the holes, because those dogs are not waiting for you to think.
Right.
They are thinking on their own and what's going to bring them value and what's going to bring them reward and all of that. So get some value on other things, get some other options going on there, and
don't no longer you don't get to the park and play ball anymore. You get to the park and do some obedience.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. The other thing that I did a lot of with Ned and Water, especially because again, singular focus, that dog came out of the womb knowing how to swim and loving it. Like
he probably swam in the womb.
He probably did. He probably did. The other thing that I did with that though is I gatewayed the reward. So in order to get to that park, you needed to do what I wanted first. Or in order to get to that water, you needed to do what I wanted first. I actually have a blog post that I wrote about this. Is your dog distracted by everything? Great. Here's why. And basically it detailed the process of gatewaying the rewards, the natural rewards that your dog loves, right? Like, let's break this down for a second and just say I've got a hunk of steak that's sitting on the floor right now that Honda, who is sleeping like a little angel on the couch there. This steak that's on the floor, Honda wants desperately. He wants it more than anything in the world. So in order to get that steak, if he understands that he needs to do something for you first, let's say you, because this is your sweet little dog. So if he understands that he needs to sit, even just a simple sit before he gets permission to get that steak, then he will ask for permission to get that steak, right? If you set it up so that anytime he goes for the steak, it goes away, you know, and not into his belly.
Right, yeah, goes into your belly.
And you set it up so that the reward for ignoring that steak or sitting or doing the thing you ask them to do is that they get to get that steak. Right. Those connections get made and the dog goes, okay, in order to get that, I need to do what you want first. And now you have currency to work with.
Right. Yes. It's like a lot of people teach their dogs to wait before going to the food bowl.
Yeah.
So the dog sits and waits while the food's being prepared. You put the food down. Okay, now you can get it. Mm-hmm. So the dog's learning to offer that sit.
Absolutely.
The moment they see their bowl come out.
Yeah. And dogs that are working dogs, herding dogs, etc., tend to have limited emotional control unless you teach them emotional control. So they might have some instinct that kicks in with certain things, but emotional control is usually not one of those instincts. And you can get into a lot of reactivity with those busy breeds. You can get into a lot of things that are not necessarily positive if you haven't given that excitement and that drive and that very quick movement, etc., work to do so. Very important.
Okay.
All right. We have another question coming.
There we go.
Question come.
Please, can you direct me to a video to redirect ankle, shoe, and pant biting? My puppy is 12 weeks. He is a little land shark. Well, on our videos, if you look through them, you're basically going to look for nipping videos, because when your puppy goes to bite at your pants, your legs, it really is a nipping issue. Yeah. It's not a grabbing at the pants issue. You're going to have your puppy on a long line all the time so you can take quick control, and you're going to watch your puppy like a hawk. And you can predict when they're going to come after your leg.
Absolutely.
And that is the optimum timing to get your verbal reprimand out. So if I know I have a puppy that bites my pant leg, I'm going to put on my best floppy pants. And I'm going to say, we're training through this today. And I'm going to flounce past my puppy, so I know he's going to be interested in biting my leg.
You're going to flounce past your puppy in your extra floppy pants.
Right, yes. And when my puppy starts to move at my pants and he's got that gleam in his eye and his mouth is opening, there's the point where I want to catch him in the act of doing this.
Yep. Perfect. Oh my gosh. This is so funny. And I will often, because I know that my puppies are really quick and I'm not necessarily as quick, I will often have that leash or house line in hand slack, but in hand so that I can be ready to do that little bit of a, hey, don't you do that. The other thing that I do that quickly I think redirects this behavior is I work with toys with the puppy. And not only to get them, get that outlet going for them, but also to teach them manners around toys so that they learn you only take the toy when I give you permission to take the toy. You give up the toy when I tell you that the game is over, etc. And we work on, like with Levon, he was 9 weeks old, and this was already part of our training routine. Anytime I would have a toy, I would make sure that I gave him solid permission, get it, and I would run it around on the ground a little bit, let him chase it. And then when it was time to end the game, I was working out, offering a trade with food, because he didn't know the out command yet, of course, so I need to teach it to him first. But then once it was out, I would stand up tall, I would hold the toy out of reach, and not in a way that I was like teasing him to get it, but I would hold the toy out of reach, and when he didn't jump to get the toy right away, I would say yes, and I would either reward him with a cookie or yes, get it, and let him have a little play again. And we got to the point where I kept building that skill up, and eventually, it didn't even take long because they're smart and they figure out what works. Eventually, he got to the point where I could take this toy and like really wiggle it around on top of him as he's sitting and as he's waiting for permission to get it, whip it around, like drag it around on the ground. And then when he's holding and showing good emotional control, I would say, yes, get it, and let him jump forward and have that little play. And of course, I know people are thinking, but that's a toy and we're talking about pant legs. But here's the thing. It identifies that tugging behavior. It identifies that play with tug has rules. And now you have all sorts of great information that you've given this puppy so that they understand. I might see this thing flopping and be excited by it, whatever that thing may be. Maybe it's pant legs. Maybe it's your child walking with their favorite toy. That they're going to be devastated if it gets torn up by a puppy. Maybe it's your child walking with a sandwich. Maybe it could be any number of things. What we're doing is we're starting to establish emotional control with the puppy and rules with the puppy so that the puppy understands I can't just grab anything I want willy-nilly.
Right. It's like
willy-nilly.
It's like when we go to a restaurant, we don't just suddenly grab at the person beside us as dessert when it comes by. We have impulse control.
Oh, Oh, that's a problem.
Or when I go to Tim Hortons, I just don't start reaching over the counter.
We don't?
No. No, we want our puppies to have impulse control.
Yes, absolutely.
They learn to control their impulses. Yeah. Yes.
And it's amazing how much when they learn those things, they want to be right and they want to offer the right behaviors. Yes. And that is compounded when you acknowledge those right behaviors. Yes. So in those circumstances, I would do the same thing. Like, here's something I need to train through. I'm putting on my floppiest pants and I'm flouting about.
Right, yes.
I'm flouncing.
Yes.
I'm flouncing about with the floppiest pants.
You want to catch them when it's almost still a thought.
Yep.
Because
absolutely.
It's far easier to put out a flame than a candle than it is. No, what is it? A flame.
The fuse.
Oh no. I know. It's far easier to put out a flame than a fire. Oh no. It's far easier to put out a flame than a fire. So when the puppy's thought is a flame, you can snuff it.
Yeah.
When it's a full-on fire, you got to bring out the big hoses now.
Absolutely. Yes. And the reason for that is that the reinforcement is there, right? Dogs are looking for the value in life. They're looking for the reinforcement. They're looking for the rewards. Grabbing your pant legs, it's not because they're trying to take you down. It's because it's rewarding.
Fun. It's fun, yeah.
Well, maybe they're trying to take you down, but then it's even more fun when you're on the ground.
Right, yeah.
But it's about the reinforcement value. So if you remove the reinforcement value and there's no reward for the dog in grabbing at your pants because they never make it there, the problem is so much easier to solve. Yes. When you know there's ice cream around the corner, you really want to go around the corner. If you don't know there's ice cream around the corner, you know what? I'm just as happy standing here because I don't know about the ice cream.
Yes.
All right. Is it me?
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know why that flame was so hard to get out, but I eventually got it out.
It was a really big fire.
Right. And the fuse one is, don't look for the explosion, look for the fuse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, address the fuse, not the explosion.
Yes.
Okay, puppy pees in his crate and it's not an accident. Okay. So first off, let's clarify that puppies do not ever pee or poo out of spite.
Right.
Every single time they have a pee anywhere they shouldn't have a pee, it is an accident. So I'm not sure if that's what this person meant,
I wonder
or if they meant the dog is purposely squatting. But that's going to happen when a dog needs to go. Right. So let's continue here. But I just wanted to clarify that. Humans try to find all these meanings in things. If a puppy pees in its crate, it's because it has to pee.
Right.
It has nothing to do with vengeance or spite.
Yeah, they're not conniving animals.
No.
I don't think any animals are conniving like that, other than humans.
We have other dogs. They were easy to train. That's great. And sometimes that sets us up for a false sense of security because not every dog is the same. And some of them are more difficult. I wonder if it's because he's a baby, just 16 weeks old, and is on his third home. So I would say that is exactly it. So now that I'm continuing to read this, I'm going to guess that they don't mean it's spiteful when it's not an accident, that they mean the puppy is purposely squatting.
Right, so, yes. If a puppy has been forced to pee in their crate, they've had to spend long hours, or maybe a pet store puppy that's been in a crate all its life, they've learned that that's what they have to do.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't necessarily know the history in this poor little pup having 3 homes already, it goes on to finish. I love this part. He's so precious. How anyone could not want him is beyond me.
He's in the right home now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
and you know what? One person's bad luck is another person's great luck. Yes. That's not an expression, but now it is.
Now it is. Yep.
And I'm glad that this puppy has found a home with people that will appreciate him for the wonderful and precious puppy that he is. Right. So let's talk about this for a bit, because I actually went through a little bit of this with Levon.
Right.
Levon was lovely and is lovely in every way, but he was a bit of a challenge to house train. We're on the right track now and things are great, but he didn't seem to be developing the ability to hold it as quickly as some of my other puppies, which now he is. He's on track. So there's nothing physically wrong. And I was aware that there, hopefully there's not, but I was ready to check with the vet if things continued to see if there was a bladder infection or some sort of a development issue or something like that. Those things do come to play.
We
will have a lot of times where we say to people, you know what? that's really suspicious. That's not normal dog behavior or not normal puppy house training behavior. Check in with your vet. Test for a bladder infection.
Yes, and it's more common than people think.
Absolutely.
Puppies having bladder infections.
I would say 9 times out of 10 when I say to somebody, you know what, this is suspicious, I would very highly recommend you test for a bladder infection. 9 times out of 10, the pup comes back with a bladder infection.
Right, yes.
You know, when they're young and we're putting all these things in their system and their immune systems are being hit from every angle with all sorts of different things and new life and vaccines,
yep.
It's expected that something is going to, you know, they might have yeasty ears. They might have a little bit of a kennel cough infection, easily
or even
contracted.
Parasites such as Giardia, different protozoa in their stool, which could cause them to have diarrhea.
Yeah. When your immune system is taxed, it makes you more susceptible to other things. So this is something that commonly comes out. I remember Quincy, my Rottweiler, she was a baby and she had a bladder infection. And it was like, oh, I didn't even know dogs, well, back then I didn't even know dogs got bladder infections, but it is what it is. But anyways, so Levon did not have a bladder infection. He just decided that it was okay to pee in his crate. And some puppies do that, you know? So you don't always get the puppy who's like, oh, I'm going to learn how to hold it in the crate. Right. So I got ahead of that by being very scheduled at first, because the first thing I needed to do was I needed him to understand that he should be going outside.
Right.
So I made sure that, you know, I would be sitting working, for example, and he'd be in his crate behind me and I would just hear it. I wouldn't even necessarily hear him fussing. I would just hear the pee hitting the crate.
And what size was his crate?
His crate was a nice enough size.
Okay, so some people put their dogs in a large crate and they pee in one end and sit in the other end.
Yeah, yes. I think I told the story last week about my Rottweiler learning to pee in her water dish.
In her water dish, yes.
And then sleep comfortably in the rest of the crate. So that would have been one of the first things I adjusted, though. If I had given him extra space in the crate at that point, I would have immediately taken it away and put him in a crate that basically he could stand up, turn around, and lie down in. Right. And that was about it, just until the house training issue was solved. So basically that's what I did with him. I would, you know, I would put him in his crate and sort of set a mental timer or set a note for myself, or even sometimes a physical timer, to let him out within the period of time that I thought he would be safe holding him for. Which initially it was like, okay, it's been 20 minutes. I'm taking him back outside now. I would take him outside, let him pee, make sure his bladder was empty. Basically what I needed to do was make sure that he didn't create the habit of peeing in the crate. So I got extra diligent. I wasn't worried about teaching him to hold it at that point at all. I was worried about making sure he didn't continue to have accidents in the crate. So sometimes we have goals, right? Like I have this goal when my puppy comes home, my first thought is house training. I need my puppy to learn how to hold it. But sometimes we have to push those goals aside to deal with an immediate problem that's coming up. So in this situation, I'm not going to worry about pushing the envelope so that I create a scenario where my dog can hold it. I am going to make sure that I get in ahead of time and give him the opportunity to pee before he's going to need it, so that his bladder will be empty and I'm not creating this habit of him peeing in the crate. So I was really, really conscious of that. I would put him away. I would, you know, at the 20 minutes. And then when that was going well, I elongated it to 30 minutes. This probably went over about, you know, maybe 10 to 14 days. So just under 2 weeks that I was working through this process. And I made sure that he had so few opportunities to have that accident in the crate that it didn't establish a habit. And then as that was happening, I was also establishing the idea that peeing outside was the right thing to do. Now, after those 2 weeks, now I can work on helping him learn how to hold it, because he's gotten out of the idea that peeing in the crate is okay. Hasn't done that in 2 weeks. So now I'm going to go to all right, now I'm going to ask you to hold it for an hour and a half, 2 hours, et cetera, because you're getting older too. But I just made sure those accidents did not continue to happen. When he did start to go and I would hear it, I would immediately identify that as something that he shouldn't be doing. So, oh, hey, what are you doing? I would open the crate, pull him out, bring him right outside, right? Because I don't want to let him finish.
Exactly.
And let him think this is an okay thing to do. I need to give him information. So it was a little bit abrupt, but it needed to happen for his information.
I did a similar thing. Cowboy, my Saluki, felt, you know, she was, you know, had been raised in a clean environment, but she felt it was fine to sit in your own pee. And I remember I would put her crate right beside TV at night. And while I was watching TV, I was also watching her in her crate.
Yeah.
And the moment I saw her start to squat,
Yeah.
Get in there. No, we don't do that. Get her outside. And I think I caught her twice in the act like that, and problem solved.
Good.
Yep. She went, oh, I guess I can't pee in here.
Yeah.
So, but I used to come home. I'd leave her for a few hours and come home, and it's like, oh, I got to bath her. Oh, I got to bath her.
Yeah.
I thought, I need to address this. Like, I think she was about 5 months by that time. She was a weird dog to housebreak. But for some reason, she felt I could go in my crate.
Yeah.
And it's okay to sit in it. Christine will give me a bath when she gets home.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's funny, eh? Like he's the first dog that I've had that ever peed in his crate. Like other than Quincy peeing in her water bowl. But then when we took the water bowl out of there, she just didn't do that again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've never had a dog that's, been inclined to do that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe out of sheer need or an accident. It's like, oops,
Yeah.
But yeah.
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 Oh
But I remember, I'd watch TV and watch her, watch TV, watch her.
Yeah. Yeah. And the diligence in the situation is what's most important.
Mm-hmm.
So, all righty.
Okay.
Well,
another question.
glad that puppy found a good home with people who think it's precious.
Right. Yes.
That's what all dogs should find.
Okay. Dogs in the bed with their owner. Is this unwise? It's a complete preference.
Yep.
I don't like having dogs in my bed. I am a floppy sleeper, and I like to have the bed for myself, and I flop around, and I'm sure poor Honda would get squashed.
You're just playing steamrollers all night long by yourself.
He would get kicked off the bed, flicked off it. Yes. So I don't like dogs on the bed because of the possibility of ticks.
Yeah, I get you with that one.
Or I've found slugs in my dog's fur. I've had ants walk out of their fur. I think I read some one time about a person with a poolie, and a poolie is a breed that looks like a mop. I think somebody found a snake once in their dog's poolie's fur.
In the dreads?
In the dreadlocks. A garter, like the dog was sleeping in the garden, and a garter snake had gone in their dreads.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine if that crawled out in the middle of the night?
Right? Oh, gee. So now other people are the opposite. Yeah. They love having their dogs sleep in their beds. But what you're looking for is, does your dog respect you as the leader? Is your dog listening to you?
Yep.
If you're having any training issues or leadership issues, then no, your dog should not be on the bed with you. But if everything is going along awesome, and when you ask your dog to move over in the bed, they don't growl, then that's fine. That's fine to have the dog in your bed. So it's...
Absolutely. Think of it as a privilege,
yes.
right? Think of it as a privilege that your dog earns through good behavior. If everything is great in the relationship and nothing is lacking, you're not struggling for attention, you're not struggling for control, they're not being sassy, they're not challenging you, there's no big deal. There's no harm in having them on the bed, on the couches. My own dogs... Ned sleeps in bed with me every single night, and when I wake up...
Levon doesn't,
Levon does not. Levon still sleeps in his crate,
right.
But when I wake up in the morning and I bring him outside, I almost always return to bed with him, and we have a little snuggle in bed at that point.
Yeah.
And it would probably be one of the first things that got removed if he hits an age marker where he starts to challenge things. Right. Adolescence can be a real crapshoot to work through, and a lot of the times puppies will start going, nah, I don't want to. Make me. They'll start, being those sassy teenagers a little bit, and they'll start really testing the waters.
Right.
And if that's the case, then he's going to lose his privileges for the bed. Those snuggles are going to go away. I'll miss them so much, but the snuggles will go away, and I'll survive it.
Yeah.
And then once things are back on track again, I'll reintroduce those privileges, sort of like a kid, right? If your kid is 17 years old and they're rocking it in school and they do their homework every night and they have a part-time job that they take responsibility with and they do chores in the house and, they're just generally an upstanding citizen, you're going to hand them the car keys and say, I trust you to do this thing, and you're so good at all these other things, you've earned this privilege.
Right, yes. Yeah, you're going to say, sure, stay out till midnight or whatever.
I trust you.
Right.
If things go the other way,
right?
You catch them smoking behind the mall, you catch them swearing at people in the parking lot, whatever the case may be, whatever your child might be doing that you think, I don't like that behavior and I don't want to reward it. You're going to strip privileges, right? Think of it in the exact same way, and then enjoy your dog as you see fit to enjoy your dog.
Right.
There's no reason that you have to have one decision over another. Swanee and I are still great friends, even though she doesn't allow her dogs in bed and I do. So pick what works for you and just, be consistent with the rules and enjoy your time.
Right.
Alrighty. Whew. And you can enjoy your kids too once they're back on track.
Right.
And being good. Is it my turn?
It's your
Did I
turn.
jump the gun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. Advice would be greatly appreciated. I'm getting a German Shepherd puppy, 8 weeks old, in about a month, and wanted to know what size plastic kennel to start off with. Is 28 inches okay? In the future, we would get a larger kennel. Thanks. So we actually were just talking a little bit about this as we were talking about the peeing in the crate thing. And really, the kennel is related to freedom and leadership, but it's also related to teaching the dog to hold their bladder.
Right. Yes.
So if I have a puppy crate and then the crate that's going to fit the adult dog, I can probably get by with that. And here's how. So the puppy crate obviously is self-explanatory. It's small enough that my puppy can stand up, turn around, lie down. I can get through that house training issue and I can teach my puppy how to hold their bladder.
Right.
And then from there, they can go into something a little bit bigger, or as they grow, they can go into something a little bit bigger. And what we can do is we can make that crate grow with them.
Yes.
So some of the wire crates actually come with dividers already. The plastic crates do not. My preference is always the plastic crates. I'm not a fan of wire crates. I don't use them in my home. I don't use them in the car. I don't use them anywhere really. I like the plastic crates. I like the very kennels. And with those crates, you can section off those as well. You might have to be a little bit more creative with the very kennels, but strong ties with those side windows and things like that work well. And that way you don't have to buy 3 or 4 different sizes of crate to grow with the dog.
Right.
You can use the crate that is going to fit the adult and just section it off slowly. And of course, by the time your dogs are adults and well-trained and they've learned all the rules of the house, the crate usually goes away for the most part anyways. You know, it's a necessity thing for our young dogs still learning the rules of the house. But I mean, once my dogs are trained and once I find them trustworthy in the house and I know they're not going to damage anything, they don't use their crates at all anymore at home.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And you can often find used crates on different sites to buy, like really cheap. You can find
Kijiji
and Facebook Marketplace. You know, people are often selling their puppy crates.
Yeah.
So I might look for a used puppy crate because I'm not going to be using it very long. But then maybe buy a brand new adult crate, but I might even find a great deal on an adult crate on Kijiji. So
absolutely, or garage sales, or like the Value Villages and stuff like that. They sometimes have them as well. So.
Right, or ask around too. A lot of times your friends might have a puppy crate. I know I always have a puppy crate hanging around in my garage somewhere. So it's
it's funny because when Levon was coming home, I could not find any of my puppy crates. So then I went out and bought more puppy crates, and then I found one at my sister's place that belonged to me. I still haven't found the other. I thought I had more than one, but anyway, it is what it is. So I bought another puppy crate. I should have just borrowed one from somebody because, of course, it was very short-lived.
Right, yeah, you don't lose the puppy crate long. Yes,
exactly.
Puppy crates are meant to be shared.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, right. Puppy crates around McCann's have raised a lot of puppies.
Yes. I gave a puppy crate away when I was in New Brunswick. I had a person buy an X-Pen off me who was getting a golden retriever puppy. And her and her little daughter came to pick it up. And I said, do you have a puppy crate for the dog? And she said, no, not yet. And I pulled out a really old wire collapsible puppy crate.
Okay.
That would be perfect for their golden retriever. And I remember telling the little girl, I said, this crate has raised at least 6 awesome puppies. So it's got some luck in it. So this is going to be perfect for your puppy.
I love that.
And I just gave it to them because I didn't need it anymore. And but
so
I like
nice.
to pass on with that, telling that little girl too. It's a lucky crate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You're going to have great luck with your puppy.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Okay. Do not give peanut butter to your dog. It's not good.
I wanted to talk about this because peanut butter can be very dangerous to the dogs, and that was a comment that came in on our YouTube channel, not a statement made by Christine Swan. So I wanted to talk about that because peanut butter with xylitol, if you buy peanut butter that is lower sugar, etc. Usually this was US side for us, but it's probably starting to creep into Canada as well. There is often an ingredient called xylitol.
It's also marketed as birch sugar.
Birch sugar, and there's monk fruit as well is another one that I think I've heard of. Like they're marketing it as a whole bunch of different things because of course xylitol doesn't have a very
delicious taste, yes.
And it doesn't have this lovely name that
Right.
people are like, oh, that sounds
Like
good.
Birch sugar sounds
Yeah.
like something. Oh, that sounds healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So marketing is so clever, but if it disguises something that is toxic for our dogs, and that's the problem with xylitol.
Right.
Xylitol is often in sugar-free gums. It's often in toothpaste. Like there are things in Canada that it is used quite regularly for. And sugar-free foods or lower sugar foods often will have sugar substitutes that are not safe for dogs.
Yes.
So if you give your dog peanut butter, which I do all the time, I use natural peanut butter for the dogs and they love it and I love it. And I make sure that it literally has nothing other than peanuts, sometimes peanuts and salt,
Right.
but never any xylitol or any sort of sweetener that might be dangerous
So
to my dogs.
you don't want to give your dogs a sugar-free peanut butter? Is that what?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's often the sugar-free peanut butter has the xylitol in it.
Exactly.
Unless
so
it's
double check the label.
Right, unless it's a natural peanut butter that was never meant to have a sweet
Exactly.
taste to it. Yes.
Exactly.
And if in doubt, check with your veterinarian.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Err on the side of caution, because the worst thing that happens if you go, oh, maybe I shouldn't feed this until I find out for sure, is the food goes to waste.
Right, yes.
Right? Much bigger consequences on the
Right.
other side of things if you go, oh, well, maybe I'll just try it this once.
Right.
And xylitol really is
Right.
a big problem.
Another thing I would watch for peanut butter is very high fat.
Yeah.
And too much fat for a dog can be a bad thing. It's very hard on their pancreas. So, you don't want to be giving your dog copious amounts of peanut butter, but, a lick of peanut butter in their Kong, a lick of peanut butter here and there is not going to hurt them.
Definitely.
Yes.
And it makes pilling dogs really,
Yes,
really easy.
yes, it does. But I'll use Cheese Whiz and I'll use cream cheese as well as a good substitute too. Honda has pancreatitis, so he can't have anything high fat.
Gotcha.
So we often will
that's
get.
sad.
I know. I feel bad for him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, poor Honda with his pancreatitis. But he's 15. He turned 15,
yeah,
and
he's
he
doing
is
well.
in great shape. So he's been
He doesn't even know we're talking
perfect
about him.
without the pancreatitis.
Right.
Perfect. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know what I was talking about there. Okay. This next question starts with, are you kidding? So I'm going to guess that they disagree with something that we said. Are you kidding? I have a 7-month-old that I got at 4 months. She doesn't care about the behavior to get the treat, just jumps and bites my fingers trying to get it. She barely will sit for a treat, even if we're in the house with no distractions. So this sounds like a dog who has not had an opportunity to gain any sort of emotional control. And here's the thing. I mean, if you get a dog and you decide that you're not going to train that dog, and by training, I mean proactive teaching,
Right.
like what we do with our kids, right? We don't wait until they need to add things in the supermarket to teach them math.
Right.
We don't wait on these things. We
Right.
proactively send them to school or homeschool them or whatever. We proactively teach them the skills that they are going to need out of life.
Yes.
And that's what training is for dogs as
Right.
well. Proactively teaching them the skills that are going to help them have a nice life and help us have a nice life with them. It's not waiting for things to happen naturally and then reacting.
Right, yes.
That is not training. That's reactive, and it's not good training, and it's not good for you, and it's not good for your dogs, because here's the thing. If I'm a dog with no training, I'm going to do what a dog with no training will do. And that
Exactly,
means
yes.
I'm going to act like a dog.
Right.
And
You're
that
going to be
means-
rowdy.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. If
Yep.
I'm a dog with no training and you're sitting there with a steak in your hand and I think that looks good, I'm coming over to try to get it with
Right.
whatever means I can, because that's what I think I need to do to get that steak.
Right.
If I'm a dog who has learned things like emotional control and polite manners and things like that, those are going to be the go-tos that I
Right.
use. So
Dogs will do what you let them.
literally, you
Yeah.
get what you put in.
Yes.
So if you don't take the time to proactively train skills like politely taking food, etc., when your dog sees it, they're probably going to jump for it, leap for it, snatch for it, whatever the case may be. And I would honestly say that if you're not training, then that's what you're going to get.
Right.
And
Yes.
good
So when
luck
you
with
when
that.
you read that, I thought
Yeah.
that's an untrained dog.
Exactly.
That's normal behavior for an untrained dog.
Absolutely.
So look for an online obedience program, join an in-person class. They're going to be able to help you and give your dog the tools. Often when we have little puppies, we're rowdy with them because it's fun to have this little 10-pound cute ball of fluff jump around and be crazy. But what we're doing is we're teaching the puppy that that's fine to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. I want my dog to jump around and be crazy and have fun. So I teach them how to do it in a way that works for me.
Yes.
Right? We teach them to have emotional control with toys. And when we say get it, now you can leap forward, you can grab it, you can voraciously tug it, and you can thrash it, and you can pull on me all you want in this situation. You know, I'm giving an outlet for that dog behavior.
Right.
But if you're going to expect a dog to do anything other than what a dog does naturally and by instinct, you need to train them.
Right.
And if you're not going to take the time to train them, you're going to have to just put up with what you're getting.
Exactly. That person is putting the saying by Bob Bailey, dog training often fails because people expect too much of the dog and too little of themselves.
Oh, there's the choir of angels singing.
Yes.
Doesn't my voice sound like a choir of angels? Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you get lucky and you get this great, good old dog. And, you know, those are lovely dogs, but they're few and far between.
Yeah.
You know,
have you ever had one of those? Have you had just a good old dog?
No, my dogs have turned into good old dogs.
Yes, no, but without putting in the work, though.
No.
Yeah.
No. All my dogs I've had to put work. You know what? Atari was kind of Atari, my Sheltie, left to her own devices. There would have been some very naughty things she did, but overall she was very much in tune. But she's
and
the
Atari
closest.
was what kind of dog?
A Shetland sheepdog.
A Sheltie.
Yes.
And in a lot of cases, Shelties can be fairly reserved and demure and soft.
Very dedicated to their owner.
Yeah. Yep. So here's the thing. If that's the type of dog that you like and you want, do your research. Find one of those dogs. If you don't want to put in the work, find a dog that is going to be an easy dog for you to live with.
Right, yeah. Like, don't get the pushy, rowdy bull terrier. Like,
exactly. Or you go out and get an Aussie expecting them to be calm. Or you go out and get a Border Collie expecting that they're going to entertain themselves and exercise themselves. You know, get a dog that's going to match your lifestyle. And if you know you don't want to put a lot of work into training, get one of those dogs that goes, okay, I'm good with that.
Right.
But definitely don't expect that things are going to be perfect on any front with dogs that you don't put the training into. So even those super cooperative dogs, it's really important for us to do the work. So is it my turn or your turn?
Your turn.
Oh, wasn't that are you kidding one?
No, it was mine was the next one about, what was it?
I don't know.
Oh, no, peanut butter. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
I think it was your turn, but I've already got one open in my hand. So.
That's okay. We'll share it.
Oh, this is, I like this one. I am glad we're going to talk about this one. Okay, so it just starts with, I just let him go crazy and sniff everything for half a mile. Then the next 3.5 miles, perfect heel and happy pup. So a lot of the times people will do this, and I always call this living by your dog's rules.
Right.
And the problem with this, you know, it's not that it's not a good tactic to allow the dog to have a sniff. I absolutely have sniff walks, and I have walks that aren't sniff walks.
Right. Yes.
You know, I'm doing less of the non-sniff walks now because I have a place with 12 acres now, and I don't do a lot of sidewalk city stuff anymore. But Ned grew up in the city, and he had to live with both the sniff walk and the non-sniff walk. And this pup also needs to learn how to do non-sniff walks. So we're specifically setting out with the goal of training those things. But here's the thing. I want it to be my say. I want my dog to have an opportunity to sniff. There is no question. They are dogs. It is one of their greatest assets. That nose is brilliant. And we want them to be able to use it. We want them to be able to fulfill those instincts and fulfill those drives in themselves. But you're going to do what I want first because you need to live by my rules.
Right.
I'm not living by your rules. Right. I'm not letting you get that out of your system and then being happy that you have good behavior for the next 3 miles going forward. If anything, you're walking those 3 miles first, or maybe it's a half a mile first. Right. Maybe it's a quarter of a mile first. But it's not about saying you will do this and being militant. It's about saying you will do it when you have permission to do it.
Yes.
And if my dog thinks that they can do it until they've sort of gotten that need out of the way, and then they'll give me their attention, what happens when I need him to come when he's called? What happens when I need him to walk on a loose lead with me? You know, what happens when I'm walking through the vet clinic and there is sick dogs that I do not want my dog going into their space? I don't ever want my dog thinking his rules are the rules to live by.
Right, yes.
You know?
Yeah, you don't want to be second fiddle.
Exactly. Our dogs have fabulous lives. Fabulous lives because we insist on our rules first. And of course, being the humans in the relationship, as much as we want to think that our dogs know what is supposed to be going on in their lives, we're living in a human world.
Right.
We're trying to keep them safe in a human world. And it is so important that we can call on our obedience anytime we might need it.
Yes.
And that's my whole rant.
Well, you might even step on the, start off your walk by doing a little bit of obedience. So it's like, okay, let's do a sit, let's do a down, let's do a stay, let's do a little short recall. Okay, now you can sniff because we started on my rules.
And I do. Like, I get to a new location, I open the car door, I open the crate door, and my dogs aren't allowed to get out until I say okay.
Right.
And then when I say okay and give them permission to get out, they're not allowed to just run into the park.
Right.
They automatically, as a patterned behavior, jump out of the car and turn back to look at me and usually offer a sit because that's what I teach them to do.
Yes.
And it's just creating a pattern of behavior. And then when I'm ready, I've closed the car door, I've got my poop bags in my pocket, I've got myself all organized, I've got my, maybe I changed my shoes because I'm going on a hike,
right?
And I wasn't driving with my big hiking boots.
Right, yeah.
So now I have to change them. And I want to make sure that those parts are not a struggle. My dog's not going, no, I'm out of here because I do my thing first. We're in this together. We're a team.
Yes.
So now I release them. And then when I'm ready to say, okay, now you can go sniff. Okay, go sniff. Right. Okay, you're free. Free dog. Like, hey, that's great. Enjoy your freedom.
Yes.
On my say, though.
Yes.
Because I'm the one that knows that car is going to be dangerous for you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I want to keep my dog safe. Yes. I think there's
one left.
One lone question.
Got it. Honda's quite interested in it. Let's see. Okay. I'm 63 years old. My dog is a mini dachshund. He's 4 inches high. There's no way I can hold a treat in front of him while walking. Got any solutions for a mini wiener?
Mini wiener. I love that.
Actually, I think I would have trouble bending over too to a 4-inch dog. Yes. Yeah. My back is not what it used to be. What we suggest is to get something extendable. So it could be a back scratcher that you can buy. I can get them at the dollar store. Or you
was that for Albert?
Yes.
Was that Family Guy for Albert? There you go.
Or you could get a wooden spoon, and I'm going to use a little bit of something that the dog can lick off it. Or I might look for a long syringe, and that just gives me the extra, maybe 4 inches, if I can get a long enough syringe that I could squeeze out a little bit.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yes. Perfect. Some sort of an extendable arm,
right?
A gadget arm will help because, those little dogs, oh my goodness.
Yes.
And luckily, we don't spend a ton of time luring the dogs, so you don't have to have this constant thing for your dog for that long, but you do have to be able to deliver those treats down.
Yes.
So the other thing that I would do with that dog is I would teach them how to jump up for a treat.
Right. Yes.
So that eventually, after I said that, I'm thinking dachshund and back issues. And of course, my brain wanted to suck that back. So be very aware of back issues in those long backed breeds and react accordingly. But usually they're pretty bouncy, happy dogs. So I would teach that dog how to jump up to take the treat. And then I could just deliver it as low as I possibly can and have him meet the rest of the way.
Right.
So
yes.
that's a pretty fun and easy thing to teach dogs to do too. I think Honda is telling us it is time to say
over,
goodbye.
Honda?
What do you say, Honda?
Honda, what's up? No, we're not getting any words out of him. No.
Well, on that note, I'm Instructor Shannon.
Instructor Swanee.
Happy training.
The McCann Dogs Podcast is brought to you by McCann Professional Dog Trainers. We help dog owners to have a well-behaved, four-legged family member. Please give us a call at 905-659-1888 or visit us at mccanndogs.com. Happy training.